I'm Caroline Tricky, a dietitian and eating psychology coach, and this is my podcast, The Art of Eating, where we're rediscovering the joy of food and saying goodbye to diets and rules that just don't work anyway. And today we're talking about carb dodging. Are you one of those people who dodges carbs like they're the enemy? You're not alone. Carbs have been cast as the ultimate dietary villain over the past few decades, with plenty of us treating them like something we need to avoid at all costs. Carbs have got a bad reputation, and with all the low-carb, no-carb and keto diets making the rounds, more people than ever are trying to dodge carbs so they can lose weight. But is this really the best approach? Today we're diving into this idea of carb dodging, what it is, why it's become so popular, and whether it's actually good for us in the long run. I'm going to bust some common carb myths, dive into why carbs are often so misunderstood, and show how including them in a balanced and satisfying way can actually be the key to long-term weight management that everyone wants. So we're constantly bombarded with mixed messages about carbohydrates or carbs. One day they're labelled as the enemy, and the next they're praised as an essential fuel. It's pretty confusing to say the least, and even harder to figure out what's right for you. So do carbs really deserve the bad reputation they've been given? For many people, the idea of eating carbs while trying to lose weight feels almost taboo. I hear from clients all the time who feel guilty for enjoying something as simple as a slice of toast, convinced it will lead to instant weight gain because that's what we've been told. They're certain that avoiding carbs is the only way to see the results they want. So, what exactly is carb dodging? Well, it's when someone makes a deliberate effort to avoid foods that contain carbohydrates. It's all about minimizing carbs as much as possible and even keeping track of every single gram you can consume. So in everyday life, carb dodging can look like this: eating only eggs for breakfast, swapping a sandwich at lunchtime for a salad and adding extra protein, and then for dinner, eating a burger wrapped in lettuce or using mushrooms in place of a bun, or making a stir fry and using cauliflower rice instead of actual rice, or using zucchini noodles in place of pasta. And when you're cooking, using almond flour in everything. So why do people go to such lengths to avoid carbs? For most, it boils down to one common theme. People are convinced that carbs are responsible for their weight gain and therefore they must avoid them at all costs. Thing is, when they do avoid carbs, they often get instant results, which just fuels this belief. People report losing weight quickly when they cut out carbs, especially in the beginning. What they don't realize is that this quick drop in weight is often due to water loss rather than fat loss. But the scales move down, and that's enough to hook a lot of people. Avoiding carbs causes the body to lose water because of how carbohydrates are stored in the body. When we eat carbs, they're broken down into glucose, which is used for immediate energy, or it can be stored in the liver or the muscles as glycogen for use for later on. Glycogen is stored with water, about 3 grams of water for every gram of glycogen. When carb intake drops significantly, like in a low-carb or keto diet, the body uses up its glycogen stores for energy. As glycogen is depleted, the water stored with it is released and excreted, leading to an initial drop in water weight, which is why people often see quick weight loss in the first days or weeks of cutting carbs, but know that it's water rather than fat loss. Thing is, dodging carbs is hard and unsustainable. So when someone starts eating carbs again after a period of restriction, the body replenishes its glycogen stores in the liver and muscles. And remember that glycogen is stored with water, about 3 grams of water per gram of glycogen. Water weight returns alongside the glycogen as the body is getting back into its natural balance. Thing is, people see a quick increase on the scales, sudden so-called weight gain. They freak out, and this further increases their belief that they can't eat carbs because they cause weight gain. They don't realize it's water and not fat. All they see is their weight going up on the scales. Now, occasionally I'll see someone who's been recently diagnosed with diabetes or pre-diabetes who will start dodging carbs in an attempt to manage their blood sugar levels, thinking that avoiding carbs can fix or get rid of diabetes. But it's not that simple. There are real problems with following a keto diet, which is probably the strictest low-carb diet, where you're encouraged to cut carbs so low that the body shifts into a state called ketosis, where it starts burning fat for fuel instead of carbs. Or a low-carb diet, where you eat mostly protein, fat, and non-starchy veggies. Depending on the diet, you may be allowed certain whole grains like quinoa and certain fruit like berries, but in very, very limited amounts. Or the paleo diet that excludes grains, legumes, and processed food that contains sugar, which are the major sources of carbs in most people's diets. But before we look at the side effects of this way of eating, let's take a look at what carbs actually are. So carbohydrates, or carbs for short, are one of the three main macronutrients that our bodies need to function alongside proteins and fats. But here's the interesting part. Not all carbs are the same. Carbs come in various forms, each affecting our bodies in unique ways. So lollipops are carbs, but so are lentils. So let's be real, you can't just lump all carbs together and toss them aside. One of the best ways to view carbs is using the concept of glycemic index, which, put simply, tells you how quickly or slowly a carbohydrate food is broken down in your body and turned mostly into glucose. High GI foods like lollipops are digested quickly, which means they cause a fast rise in blood sugar. While they can give a quick energy boost, this is often followed by a crash, which can leave us feeling tired and even hungrier than before. On the other hand, low GI carbs like lentils take longer to break down, providing a more sustained release of energy. And given that most of us aren't running around doing marathons all day, we use fuel at a steady rate. So we need to fuel our body at a steady rate, and low GI carbs do that. So let me break that down a bit more and explain why we actually need carbs. Carbs are our body's primary energy source. When we eat them, our body breaks them down into glucose, which our cells use as energy. Without adequate carbs, our body has to work harder to make energy from other sources like fat or protein, which it doesn't like doing and often leaves us feeling sluggish. For high energy organs like the brain, which uses glucose almost exclusively, carbs are especially important. So carbs are a necessary part of a balanced intake. It's just a matter of choosing the ones that fuel your body best. So the idea that all carbs are bad has gained traction because people associate carbs with weight gain and blood sugar spikes, but as you know now, that's not the full story. Because, as I mentioned and explained, not all carbs are equal. So if you eat high GI carbs like white bread, sugary cereal, and you drink soft drink, these are gonna flood your blood with sugar, and given most people use sugar in their blood at a steady rate, you can't use all that fuel as quickly as it's coming in, so some will go into storage. It will be stored as fat. But if you're choosing low GI carbs, you can give your body the energy it wants and needs. That energy will be provided to the body at the same rate it's being used, and because low GI carbs also keep you full for longer, it's easier to listen to your hunger cues and eat the amount your body needs and no extra. So low GI carbs provide a slow release version of energy, a steady stream of fuel that will keep you going throughout the day, helping you feel energized and fueling your brain so you can focus and concentrate. By choosing low GI carbs, you can keep your blood sugar levels stable, avoid energy crashes, and you feel full for longer. And who doesn't want that? But the other thing that people don't realize is that these lower GI foods like lentils are packed with nutrients like fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. Fiber in particular is crucial to support a healthy gut. Fiber is the food your gut microbiome feed on. And the thing with fiber is that there are all sorts of different types, and each one feeds different bacteria in your gut. So the more varied your fiber intake is from fruit, veggies, whole grains, and legumes, the more variety of bugs you're going to have in your gut, and that is a really good thing. So your gut microbes are incredibly important for your overall health. I can't emphasize that enough. These tiny little organisms do amazing things behind the scenes to keep you well. They play a huge role in boosting your immunity, keep you protected from harmful bacteria and viruses. They also help lower inflammation in the body, which is essential to prevent chronic illnesses. Plus, they're key players in digesting food and making sure you absorb vital nutrients efficiently, nutrients including calcium. In short, a healthy gut microbiome supports everything from your immune system to your digestion, making it an essential foundation for your health. And here's the thing, this is exactly what carb dodgers miss out on when they avoid carbs. Those carb-rich foods, especially whole grains, legumes, and fruit, contain the fiber that our gut microbes love and need to thrive. Without a steady supply of fiber, these beneficial microbes miss out on the nourishment they need, which can impact your health in significant ways. When you dodge carbs, you're going to miss out on or limit feeding these good bacteria that help keep you healthy. So by skipping carbs, you're not only cutting a source of energy, but you're also potentially compromising your gut health, something that can have a ripple effect on your overall wellness. So while carb dodging might seem like an easy fix, it's tough to stick with and doesn't live up to the hype. There are drawbacks to cutting out a major essential food group. While you may see some short-term weight loss, it's always short-lived. You're going to miss out on important fibers and other essential nutrients. And over time, a low fiber intake can also lead to digestive issues and constipation. And dodging carbs doesn't only affect your digestion, but it'll affect your mood and energy as well. Carbs play a big role in our mood and energy levels, and cutting them too low can make us feel irritable, sluggish, and even mentally foggy. Many people find that after an initial boost in energy when they cut carbs, they start to feel more tired than usual. This happens because the body has to work harder to generate energy from fat and protein, and especially for high energy organs like the brain. Some of my clients who have tried carb dodging report struggling with focus at work or feeling unusually low in energy during workouts. And when you're struggling with energy in a workout, you're more likely to injure yourself. But one of the biggest pitfalls of carb dodging is that you create a restrictive mindset around food. After a period of avoiding carbs, people often find themselves craving them intensely, leading to overindulging when they finally give in. In fact, I saw this pattern in a client this week who'd been trying keto to lose weight. After a few weeks of following the plan strictly, she found herself uncontrollably craving bread and pasta. Eventually, she gave in, broke the diet, overate carbs, and then felt guilty, blamed herself for not having enough self-control, and then tried to go harder with even more restrictive behaviors afterwards to compensate. She was miserable, and this is no way to live. So if carb dodging sounds exhausting or like it's creating more problems than it solves, you're right. While carb dodging might offer quick results and stop blood sugar swings, it's not sustainable long term. can lead to missing nutrients, lower energy, and an unhealthy relationship with food. Include your low GI carbs, and if you want to know what they are, I'll put a link in the show notes. Feed your gut microbes and give your body its preferred fuel. Slow carbs, the ones that are whole, minimally processed, and packed with nutrients. Rather than cutting carbs entirely, this approach emphasizes choosing carbs that nourish your body, keep your energy steady, and satisfy you. That will help you manage your weight in a satisfying and sustainable way. So how do you put this into practice? We'll start by building meals that include carbs along with protein and healthy fats and vegetables. So rather than just toast with Vegemite, try topping your whole grain toast with avocado and an egg, or my favorite, peanut butter. And not just any peanut butter, Maver's dark roasted, extra crunchy peanut butter, that is. Add legumes, corn, or sweet potato to your salad for lunch and have rice or pasta for dinner. But don't eat a pile that's as big as your head. Have it in balance with plenty of veg and protein. So to wrap things up, carbs are not the enemy. They are an essential energy source. So choose low GI nutrient-dense options, explore different types, notice how they make you feel, then pair them with protein, plenty of veg or salad, and healthy fats to create meals that taste delicious, are completely satisfying, and fuel your body best. It's all part of learning to trust your body rather than relying on rigid food rules. And if you're ready to take this journey even further, I have something special for you. Join my 5-day Eat Consciously free challenge where you'll become a more conscious and aware eater. Just go to Caroline Trickey, that's tricky with an EY.com to find out more. So that's what I have for you this week. Don't dodge carbs. Now you know about carbs, you can choose the right ones that fuel you best. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions or want more support, please reach out. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening today. And remember, food is meant to be enjoyed, not feared. See you next time on The Art of Eating.